Well, a warm welcome along to London, where we are kicking off another themed week here at propertytribes.com. We are calling it Landlord Talking Points Week, and all this week I'm going to be joined by the company that's powering this video content. It's Ideal Flatmate, and I'm joined by one of the founders, Tom Gatzen. And Tom, actually, when we came to think about this week, we struggled just to reduce it to 5 topics because there's so much going on for landlords at the moment, isn't there?
It's such a busy time. I guess it always is. Whenever I speak to you, it kind of seems like there's a lot going on. But particularly with some of the recent government announcements, Brexit uncertainty is still around and is causing quite a few headaches, not just for landlords, but I guess the whole sector. You've got the growth of build-to-rents, which I know we're going to talk about, and is one area we're very involved in at Ideal Flatmate. And yeah, it's just a very busy time, and I guess quite a stressful time at times in general.
I think you're right. And, one talking point is the actual growth of Ideal Flatmate as well, because when we sat here maybe about a year ago, you were kind of still a fledgling company, but a year later things have changed dramatically, haven't they?
Yeah, it's been kind of crazy, the growth. I mean, as you say, about a year ago we were getting 500 to 1,000 properties a month. We now get over 10,000 new properties being added a month to the site, and that's through traditional professional landlords, live-in landlords, agencies, and more of the build-to-rent sector. We now also get 300,000 flat searches coming on every month to the site, which again has ballooned over the last 12 months. And we've been seen as a really strong place for landlords to come now and find tenants, which I think it's fair to say 12 months ago we were still building that stock up and building up our user base. Now we're in a much more confident place with the product and also with our user base. And we've been developing our app. Our app comes out in August, which we're very excited about. It's going to make it a lot easier for landlords to communicate with potential tenants on the app. And it's just continuing the growth across the country. We were London-based a year ago. We've now launched it across 7 other cities, and we plan to be fully UK-wide by the end of the year.
Wow, well, congratulations. And I'm guessing that some of the success is the fact that you and your co-founder, Rob, you're both young guys, and you've come at it at kind of a completely different angle, and you've come up with this kind of tenant matching algorithm so that people can find each other and find the right properties for them. Do you think that's really what's helped you get the traction?
Definitely, initially that was a massive factor in us getting really strong interest in the kind of first few months. As you say, we've developed an algorithm which matches flatmates based on compatibility, and that really got us some strong traction initially. People were really interested in the concept. People were signing up to the site without really any marketing spend. We've learned a hell of a lot over the last year. We've learned that without the properties and the engagement from landlords, the site wouldn't have worked. Because you can have as many flatmate matches as you want. If people don't then have a property on your site to move into, people won't be interested, because people still fundamentally want to find a property when they're looking. They want to find a good quality flatmate, but they also need somewhere to move into. So the work we've done with landlords, agents, developers over the last 12 months has been crucial to building a site which can stand on its own 2 feet. And our core USP still is around the personality side of the property process. So although we see ourselves as a prop tech site, we're still very much about the people and about helping people find good quality people to live with, that they get along with. Indeed,
because it's that kind of chicken and egg situation, isn't it? You've got to have the properties that people can look at, but then you've got to also have the tenants that are searching for the properties so that the landlords get their properties filled quickly. So you've done very, very well to kind of overcome that kind of hurdle.
Yeah, and it's a two-sided marketplace, and it's constantly evolving. So as we onboard far more landlords and agents, we then need to almost go back and focus on bringing more flat hunters to the site. So there's a huge amount of growth for us to do on both sides, and our marketing team is kind of constantly pushing and finding innovative ways to engage both sides of the market. But the exciting thing is there's still a huge amount of growth for us to do. Our kind of biggest competitor is still a fair way off, and we're number 2 in the market now, but we want to push on and overtake the number 1. And there's a lot of innovative things that we can keep doing on the site. We're constantly looking at ways and trying to understand the ways our users kind of engage with us and think about the property market. and there's a lot to be fixed in terms of user satisfaction. So we're constantly working, we're constantly trying to improve.
Well, absolutely, it's an ongoing process, isn't it? You know, one talking point is landlords looking to fill rooms, looking to fill properties. That's where you come in. Typically, landlords would reach for maybe spare room or Gumtree. There's been some discussions on property tribes that not only have the numbers of applicants declined, but also the quality of applicants. Where do you see that Ideal Flatmate fits into that space with the two, you know, sort of Gumtree and spare room?
Yeah, I mean, the quality is a really interesting one, because that's a challenge for all property portals, I think. I mean, we were speaking to Zoopla recently, and they've kind of got the same issue, that they're really focusing on quality now. And when we launched, it was just about trying to send as many inquiries and many leads to landlords as possible to show them the value. And then we kind of took a step back 6 months ago and started speaking to our landlords, and they said we'd rather have 3 completely relevant inquiries a week that we're going to convert than 20 or 30 that they then had to sift through. So we now ask extra qualification questions of our tenants before they send an inquiry, so that not only are they well matched with the people going to be in the property, but also do they have the right budget, are they looking to move in at the right time, so that landlords don't have to sift through lots of people that aren't going to be relevant. Because that's exactly the feedback we were getting, that the quality on certain other sites had kind of taken a bit of a dip. And so, yeah, that's something we pride ourselves on. In terms of the competitors, Spare Room are obviously still the market leader, and they're a great site and very, very strong. We kind of feel that Gumtree has kind of moved away maybe as such a big player in the space. I think they're focusing on other things as a business. So yeah, we're delighted to have got to that second place, but we want to keep working with landlords, working with the market to understand where we fit in and we can improve on the competition.
Fantastic. So when we met you a year ago, as we mentioned, you were mainly just in London, but now, as we've also mentioned, a year later, you've actually expanded into the top 8 cities in the UK, is that right?
That's correct. So yeah, we're in Manchester, Birmingham, Bristol, Leeds, Newcastle, Nottingham, and probably one other, lose track. But yeah, we've mapped out the areas with the highest number of sharers, and also we've signed up a number of build-to-rent developers now to work with us, and a lot of them have got big developments in certain cities. So that's kind of been another kind of spur to our growth, that once we signed one of those big developers up, we know we've got the stock in a certain city, then we can start working with landlords in those cities as well. So growing's kind of had its own teething problems. It means that we've got to keep pace with the property growth in terms of the tenant side, and keep making sure our tech and our features on site are kind of well versed for those other new cities. But it's been really exciting, and as I say, there's a long way to go.
Indeed. Well, we've got a long way to go on this actual week here on Property Tribes, because Tom is going to be joining me all this week. And indeed, you mentioned build to rent, and that is a big talking point for landlords. And actually, that's the topic of tomorrow's video. So please join myself and Tom tomorrow right here on propertytribes.com. And if you are watching on YouTube, please do click across to our actual site where the discussions are hosted. I invite you to subscribe as well, and we'll look forward to seeing you tomorrow, and we'll be talking about the rise of build to rent right here on Landlord Talking Points Week.